Welcome back. Let us pick it up from where we left. Workflow. We said the platform on Docswave has three main parts: organization or information structure, community, and workflow. This organizational information structure is where you find the organization chart. You want to know who is the finance officer in Fort Portal. Click here, go and check Fort Portal. You will see. You want to know what's happening. You need clarity. Is tomorrow a public holiday? Is this true? Has this change really been effected? Community is where you find such notifications. And I said workflow is that part where you find all sorts of documents that you need to use and access. Here we have three main parts that I want you to be well aware of. First, we have doc draft, we have workflow documents, and then we have docs approval. Workflow documents, this is where you go to check through the documents that have been utilized in your profile over the years. It is there that you find which documents have you ever drafted, which have you approved before, which ones were posted, someone posted and then listed you as an observer, and so on and so forth. Docs approval, this will always show you which documents were posted, but they need your approval. And then doc draft, this is where you have all documents you need to find, all templates you can base on to draft a document. Let's start with doc draft because this is where it begins. When you click on doc draft, you have three options. You have redraft docs, docs forms, and temporary docs. The basic part here is docs forms because this opens up the templates that you're going to fill in and draft a document. In your office, in your line of work, you will find yourself needing to share these, to draft these. Maybe it is a requisition that will now be sent out to the finance officers who will read through, calculate all the things to make sure you're right, and then when it's approved and sent to the director, then the project can be finally financed. Or maybe it is a proposal. It is where you begin still. Or maybe as an officer, you need to draft a document, like you're signing up for annual leave, you're filling your H1 or H2 performance evaluation, you all start from docs forms. Now, in the event that you are still drafting a document, but then realize something is missing, maybe an attachment, or maybe a certain piece of information is lacking, you don't necessarily have to close everything and lose all the work you've done already. That is when you make it a temporary document by saving it as a temporary document. It will be found there. But let's say you successfully upload it and post it and then it gets approved and that project is closed. Maybe it was a proposal for the March salary payment for all staff. But then in April, you need to do the same work. You can find it here and redraft it. That is redraft docs. Let's start with docs forms. In docs forms, basically we find here templates. And as you change the different dockets still, it changes. Proposal will have a different one. A report after the proposal, a different one. In the finance, this is where you upload all your documents that seek monetary approval. Procurement, human resources, administration, and so on and so forth. I want us to know this. All these documents have these four basic parts. Let's try to see it from the proposal. Let's choose any activity proposal. You're writing a document that is proposing an activity to happen in IDI Uganda. The basic parts of every document you will be uploading on Docswave are: number one, the title. This title is editable. And as you keep on checking and typing different letters, it will be showing you test doc. We are just testing. So the first part is the heading. The rule with the heading is when it changes here, it must change in this box as well. And the heading or the naming has a format. Basically, the name of that document or what it is seeking. If it is specific to a certain center or office, please begin with that. For example, if the proposal I am intending to draft is only limited to HQ, I need to add HQ there. You separate them using the underbar. Test doc. The next part is add the date. You need to add the date. If it is specific to a center, HQ, test doc, but what is the document about? Proposal. And now we can add our date. Now, the format for adding the date is date of the month, and the last two digits of the year. For example, 30th March 2026. Any officer that reads this or finds it can know this is about HQ. It is a test document proposal written on this date or drafted on this date. Just select everything and now make sure it's all the same. The title here needs to match the title here. That is the part number one. The other second part of all documents we deal with on Docswave is the approval line. The approval line shows the list of officers through whom this drafted document will go before it finally gets to the director for approval. This is where we add it. And after adding, you will see the line extend this way. Come to process settings. You will have a list of stuff to add, and the directions will be given to you. Depending on what document you're drafting, it will be explaining which person to add. Please, when you are not sure, consult your line manager. So, for example, I am adding these two people in line of approval for the work I need to be done. 3 people. I'm adding them as approvers. That means when this document gets on their desk, they will read through everything I would have written, and now they will go ahead to say thumbs up. But as a must, in case the director doesn't come added, please add her. And since all of them are approvers, they appear here. Here is the rule. The director always approves last. Even if she came and appears here, please make sure you drag and put her last. One other thing you should never forget is let everybody's box be checked. Why? Because in the event that there is something realized as this document has already been drafted by you, you can no longer change. You can no longer make any changes to it. But if it gets realized and it's at Miss Grace's table, she can actually edit. If maybe it skips her table and Miss Amojal realizes it, she can edit until it gets to the final person who is the director. If you forget to allow them to edit and they realize a mistake, all the work you've done before is going to be lost because it has now to be rejected and you draft it from scratch. So always remember to tick and allow them to edit your document. In most cases, we find ourselves having to add departments. You may go ahead and select a department maybe like finance and HR, and put them as receiving departments or observing departments. For which one to choose, please consult your line manager as you handle this. But no, there is always a department to be added, one or two. Now, this, unless you've been told by your supervisor or your line manager, you may not need to add them unless told. Register. Now see, the approval line has added more people. Remember the signature we learned how to add? If it leaves my desk and it goes ahead to be drafted, my signature will appear. And once it leaves her desk, the signature appears all through to the last person. I said the basic parts of every document we'll be dealing with here is, number one, the heading or the title. And I said when this changes here, it must change here as well. The format for the title is, if it is specific to one center, write it, name of that document if it's a proposal, and the date, which is written in the format of day of the month, and the year, which we write only last digits for. Then process settings is where we add, so the second part was approval line. Now the other part is attachments. Please always remember, most of the documents we upload require these supporting attachments. Maybe it is a requisition for money for a service rendered by another outsourced company. You've gotten their quotation or you've gotten their invoice, attach it here. All you have to do is you will go to your files and select it. For example, we go to desktop here, and all we need is maybe any of the work documents, and now get it and add. Just by dragging and dropping it in here after opening, see, there it is. So whoever reads your proposal will now see a supporting document. For the nitty-gritties of what goes where, consult your line manager. But the key parts are heading, which changes here and here, the approval line, remember to allow them to edit, and now the attachment. Finally, your document is ready. I said if you realize I've not put this in, it won't be accepted. Please click on save temporarily. But if everything is ready and you're confident, doc draft. This means it has left your desk. Now it will go to Grace Lee's table, then her, and finally the director. But since this is just a test document and it has many missing spaces, we'll just save it temporarily. And just to check, I told you that if we want to save a document, maybe we've used it and we want to use it later, it is in the temporary documents. When I've found the rest of the information I need, I'll just come to Doc Draft, Temporary Documents, here it is, and then I can open it and use it as I see fit. Thank you.